Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a late Sunday edition of the PJBT Season 24. I guess we could call it the preview show, as we have in many years past.
Yes.
Skip Moyer, alongside Tournament Director Matt. PA Fats off to our right, possibly your left, however you're looking at the camera. We are here today just to kind of give you guys an overview of the schedule. We have a lot of things we want to cover today. Schedule, the regular season schedule. We have the girls' tournaments to go over today. For our adult bowlers, some of the Keystone stuff we're going to throw out there. Some different side pot action we got going on this year. And just many a variety of things we got going on. We have quite a few changes to our girls' schedule this year. Jason's opening it up. We're going to have 9 total regular season girls tournaments this year, with an invitational at 222 Dutch sometime next year in May, I believe. And just going to kind of give you guys a overview of what we got going on today.
Absolutely. Hope everybody had a great summer, and hard to believe we are beginning season 24 of the PJBT. I guess I'll begin by talking about this coming weekend. Obviously, we have our big kickoff event this weekend at 222 Dutch Lanes, 1 week from today. First of all, sign-ups for this event is already online, so you can sign up today. I'm sure many of you saw our posts on our Facebook page. We started taking sign-ups a couple of days ago. The first 24 of you are going to be receiving a free prize for signing up as one of the first 24 bowlers for the season. I can tell you that we are currently at 37 entries at the moment, so the first 24 are locked in for their free prize, but we still are giving away a $100 gift card, random draw to the first one of the first 100 bowlers signed up for next Sunday. So if you haven't done that already, make sure you go online and do that. Parents and bowlers, to make it easier, a lot of you are paying the membership and the entry fee all at once. If you click the custom amount button on the website, you can simply just pay $75 and submit it all at one time for this season, and that'll cover your membership and your entry for the first event. A lot of you are paying separately membership and entry. You don't have to do that. You can just click the custom amount button, pay $75, and put in the notes that it's for both, and we'll take care of that accordingly for you. So, yeah, but make sure we got 23 scratch bowlers and 14 handicap bowlers at this point. I know many of you are wondering who's on the list for the top 24. I'm probably going to just be posting that on our Facebook page later tonight after the preview show so that you can see. Ironically, we will tell you we're giving away 25 prizes because in only PJBT style, Josh, the one person who paid for 2 entries so far online was the 24th and the 25th entry.
I would expect nothing less.
I would expect nothing less also. So.
And we'll probably have a tie in both divisions after qualifying.
Here, here.
Here, here. So, yes, so the first 25 will receive the free prize at check-in, and make sure you sign up in advance. We expect a really good crowd for our first event.
So let me just say very quickly before we start this, I have our message board up. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in, and I'll read them off as we get them. If anybody wants to ask us any questions about this upcoming year that we don't answer as we're going through this.
Okay.
So feel free to start talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. And
while we're on the subject of tournament number 1, everyone that we have a lot of vets signed up already that have bowled the first tournament already, and then even people watching this that have not been to our opening event. It does get a little hectic and busy for check-in. Give yourself an extra 10-15 minutes. Do not walk in the door at 10:30. That will not go over well. The earlier you guys can get there would be more helpful to not only you, but to us. Because if you guys want to start on time, let's get check-in done, banged out, and we'll get you guys on the lanes as soon as we can.
Yeah, and actually to throw out with that, Josh, I didn't update it on the website, but you reminded me that I can do that later today with no problem. Many of you know, for the first event of the season, we always have you fill out your biography sheet for the new season. You only have to do it once every year. But I can post the biography sheet from last year is still on the website, but I can update that. There's not much to updating it, so I can do that. And then I would highly suggest, to save time at check-in, you can actually fill that out and bring it with you to check-in. That way it'll speed up your process of picking up your membership card and checking in at the event. So, all right, so with that said, let's start by talking about some of the basics of this year's schedule. Probably the one thing I want to mention is, as many of you probably know, cost of everything is going up a little bit. We are paying a little more in lineage this year with our centers, so we did increase the cost of bowling a little bit, but the good news with that is we can also add some extra to the prize fund. So this year we expect to hopefully give out, last year we gave out over $1 million, and I should say we've given out over $1 million. We want to keep that going, so we're going to be doing that. And I can tell you on the map side of everything, we just sent out about $40,000 in scholarship checks over the last 2 weeks. So, it certainly comes in handy at the end when you're going to school. So, but that's the big thing for this year one change that we made. Couple of special events I want to mention that kind of are thrown into the schedule. First of all, we're going to have a record specialty events this year. What I mean by specialty events are doubles, adult, junior, team events. We're going to have our big bowling center championship event again, our Baker tournament, our 3-person team tournament on the team side, and then we're going to have a record 6 doubles events this year. We've added an additional doubles event, and one of those doubles events is going to be very interesting, gentlemen, because we are going to have a Scotch doubles tournament. For our viewers out there, Scotch doubles means that you throw every other shot.
Yes.
So that means for example, if Josh and I are doubles partners, if he goes first and doesn't get a strike, I have to shoot a spare. And then he alternates and throws the first shot again. If he strikes, then I throw the next shot, and vice versa. And then if you get to the 10th frame, if we strike 3 times, you throw the first and third strike, I'll throw the second. How about that? That sound good?
Sure.
Okay, because you like to strike a lot more than I do.
I do.
So that's going to be one of our events, and then we're also going to. We added a little feature this year to our Mother's Day event. We're going to be doing a mulligan event. And that is where we're actually going to bowl 6 games of qualifying, and you get to throw out one of your games. So that'll be kind of interesting for our Mother's Day event this year. So just a couple of little wrinkles in the schedule, but nothing mind-boggling that we changed for the PJBT side of things. Gentlemen, would you like to throw some in about the regular season schedule?
I don't have it in front of me.
Well, here, have a copy.
You're going to have to talk about it.
So, but I can tell you that, just to highlight a couple of things, obviously our first major is coming up this Sunday. I can tell you that we just posted on the website this morning. We have 10 brand new patterns from Kegel this year. I want to thank Tom Hankey and his buddies out there at Kegel. They've created 10 brand new, never used patterns for our majors for this year. So as many of you know, I've been bowling the PJBT. Our major events typically have a challenging type pattern for our majors where we pay out extra prize money. And they created some new patterns for us a couple of years ago, I would say pre-COVID, and we had them update them this year to create 10 new ones for us. So hopefully that'll bring some new challenge to the lanes this year. So we'll be using those patterns for our majors. And also I'll mention, like, our first adult junior event is going to be coming up the last weekend in September. We'll be up at Chaco's Family Bowling Center in Wilkes-Barre for the first adult junior of the season. And we're actually going to have our first doubles event this year on Sunday, October the 2nd. That'll be at Jordan Lanes. Now, one of the things that I actually was not going to mention today, but I think it's good to mention to watch for, is we are in the process of doing some updates to our website. to help Stacy and Josh out with the entries. One of the big things I had a meeting on this past week is they're going to be working on putting an entry ticker on the website for each one of our events. So this way, when you go online and you go to pay, it's going to tell you how many entry spots are left. That way, we have a bunch of events that sell out, a bunch of events that get close to selling out, and that way, the website will automatically shut off payments once we have reached selling out. That is to hope to kind of resolve any confusion on whether entries are still available or a waiting list and so forth. So that's one of the unique features we're going to be doing to the website. Probably won't be on there yet this week or so. I know the website people are working on it, but we're going to have that up very soon.
There'll be some bugs, I'm sure.
Yes.
There's going to be some growing pains with this, but at the same time, once we get it perfected, it'll be a big help. That way, you know, if for some reason Stacy posts on a Saturday morning we have 10 open spots and 12 people try to go on and all pay at one time, we don't have to, like, if we have plans that day, we don't need to sit somewhere and keep checking, do we have entries, do we have entries. You guys will know, we'll know, and you know, as far as a waiting list, if people pay, they'll just go to the waiting list. We can figure that all out later. But it makes everybody's life easier.
Yeah, and I think also I'll throw in with that, Josh, is that the ticker is also going to help a lot with some of the other events that we run. You know, we're not sure yet on all the details. I know this year, many of you probably saw when the schedule come out that there is no Danny Wiseman tournament this year, but there has been some discussions about potentially that coming back in 2023 in October. So, you know, with all these events that we run, you know, we want to make sure we have a ticker on for the entries, especially any events that may have multiple squads.
Try keeping track of 360 entries and hoping that you don't go over your limit.
Yeah,
You do not want to sit in the house with my wife when she's counting that up. I purposely leave and go do other things.
Yes, and I think the ticker also, like, we don't run a lot of multiple squad events of our own, but the one that I can think of specifically is our adult junior on the Saturday of championship weekend. We obviously run 2 squads of the adult junior. Again, I think that's something that's going to help. And we kind of we built around this idea from other events that I think I want to just quick mention also. Like, for example, we're going to be off the weekend of Labor Day again for the Parker Bones Scholarship Tournament. If I may, before I get into that, let's take a moment and congratulate. What a summer for the Bone family. You know, Parker just being announced PBA 50 Player of the Year. Parker's children, Brandon and Justin, both winning national titles. Yeah, I don't know how much more you can achieve in one summer as a family, but congratulations to all of them. And he's going to be having a scholarship tournament the Labor Day weekend of September 1st to the 4th. And I know on their website, where you need to go to pay for his event, they also have a ticker with how many remaining spots for each squad and so forth. Even the doubles event that they have a ticker on there. So we're going to try to kind of mimic that idea with the website so that we can utilize that for us also. Now, one thing I want to throw in here as we're talking about Parker Bones event, the one thing we are going to do Labor Day weekend is we're going to have the first of our 9 regular season and invitational girls only events. This year, for the girls events, we hope that you girls talk to each other and get involved in these events as we expand them this year. This year, Travis will be again involved with the events, but Jason is going to be taking over the primary role of the girls only events. And Jason, you want to talk a little bit about the girls only events for this year?
Sure. They're tournaments for girls.
Wow, that was impressive.
I could not have done that any better myself.
I'll tell you what,
Yes.
a lot of detail there.
Yes. So, as Matt said, yes, we have 10 of them, 9 regular events and then the Invitational. The Invitational will be for the top 24 girls in points on both the scratch and handicap side. So, let's talk a second about how if you want to pick up your cap, feel
Oh.
free.
I was hoping you weren't going to bring that to anybody's attention.
So, how are we doing the points? So, we're keeping it a little stacked because we want girls to to show up at every tournament. So, for every tournament you appear at, you get 10 points, and then you get an additional point for each placement at each tournament. So let's just say there's 25 girls that show up. You get first place, you get your 10 points for showing up, and you get 25 points for winning. The second place girl would get 24 points, third place girl would get 23 points, and so on down the line. The girl who finishes last would receive 1 point. So at the end of 9 events, the top 24 will get the automatic invites to the championship final at 222 Dutch. Now, something that Matt and I had discussed that we are going to do, we're throwing in a bonus for the Invitational. So the Invitational is going to pay a base amount. We're going to pay the top 4. So the base amount to win will be $250. And you will also get, for the winner, $50 for each event you show up to. So if you get to 9 events, you get an extra $450.
Correct.
Now, we're going to say as long as you get to 8, we're going to give you 1. So we're going to give you 1 mulligan. Because with the first tournament being up against the finals of the Parker Bone Tournament, obviously if you're bowling the Parker Bone Tournament and you make the finals, you're going to stay for the finals of the Parker Bone Tournament and miss our first one. So, for the top person, as long as you get to 8 of our events and you win the Invitational, you would get $750 scholarship for winning. We will also be having a bonus for second, third, and fourth. Second would be $125 plus $25 for every event you show up at. Third will be $100 plus $15 for every event you show up at. And fourth would be $50 plus $10 for every event you show up to. So it behooves you to come to every one of our events. So what are our events? So let's just go over the schedule. So we have some exciting events. I just didn't want to do the straight, hey, let's bowl 5 games, 3 games of match play, and then finals. So the first few tournaments are set up that way, which is the Labor Day Sunday, September the 4th at Nellie Fox down towards Chambersburg. Then Saturday, September 24th, the girls-only tournament at ABC West with a 2:30 start time, set up with the same format. Sunday, October the 8th, girls at ABC North Lanes in Harrisburg, 10:30 start time. Sunday, November 27th at Lion Bowl, 10:30 start time. Sunday, December 18th at Steel City out in Bethlehem with a 10:30 start time. Saturday, January 7th at Jordan Lanes out in Whitehall with a 2:30 start time. Then the fun starts. So on Super Bowl Sunday, we don't have a bowling center for this yet. We're frankly having problems finding one because a lot of bowling centers now are having their Sunday leagues bowl at around noon, so they don't miss the Super Bowl. But we will find a bowling center. We are going to do an 8-game marathon that day of no tap. So for those of you that don't know what no tap is, you throw a 9, it counts as a strike. And it's just going to be straight 8 games. There's going to be no second round. 8 games and done. That is on Super Bowl Sunday, February the 12th. Then the following week, we have a little special event. Our friends at East Lincoln, my favorite little bowling center, we are going to be holding a girls-only event that Saturday, and then our regular PJBT that Sunday. But for the girls, you want to make sure you show up at both events because we will have a special award scholarship for the girl who has the highest qualifying block for all 10 games. 5 games Saturday, 5 games Sunday. Just your qualifying block. Whoever has the highest score will receive some kind of special prize from us. We haven't determined yet what it'll be, but it will certainly be added to your scholarship fund. So that's going to be an event you definitely want to show up at. I mean, you could be 5th after the first day. You could easily make it up going into day 2. The top 4 may not even show up. You never know. But we want everyone to show up. Then, our last qualifying event is Sunday, March 26th. This is at Strike Zone Lanes in Sunbury, not Strike Zone Lanes in Pottsville. Strike Zone Lanes in Sunbury. Now, we're going to do a little special event that day as well. I'm calling this our 2 tournament in 1 event day. So we are going to do 5 games. That's it. High score, you win. We'll pay our top 4 as usual. Then, whoever makes it into the top 6 for both scratch and handicap, you move on to tournament number 2, where we're going to do a blind draw. 1 handicap bowler will get placed with 1 scratch bowler, and we're going to do a little bit of a doubles tournament. For 3 games, top 3 will go to a stepladder. We're going to see who's going to win that tournament as well. So it's just a little special event that day that we've decided to do. That's at Strike Zone in Sunbury. And then the finals would be Sunday, May 7th at 222 Dutch. That's going to be 6 games of qualifying, 3 games of match play, and then a stepladder. So those are our expanded girls tournaments this year. I'm looking forward to being at all of them. I know we're going to have at least 1 new girl bowler this year, so I know someone who's going to be at them as well. Josh, I don't know if you have if your daughter's bowling yet.
She throws enough stuff around at home. We're going to wait on bowling balls.
So if anybody has any questions on that, feel free. We don't have any questions yet on our message board.
Okay.
But that's pretty much how our girls' tournaments are working this year. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. I can see the excitement on Josh's face right now.
I'm just waiting for you to finish so I can chime in a sentence, and then we'll move right on.
Hey, chime in.
Yeah, excitement doesn't come standard over here anyway. Just to kind of tail off what he said about the girls' tournaments, just really looking forward to those 9 events this year, and the more girls that we get to show up, it just helps for future planning, and just, who knows, maybe if we have a great turnout this year, we can add 1 or 2 more for the girls next year, and, we'll just keep it growing. We have a slow, steady infuse of some new girls coming, some coming up through the, up through school, some of our younger girls that are coming out to start to bowl this year, and just, be a good starting block to get you guys into bowling the PJBT, and maybe being able to piggyback off of that to bowl like a Danny Wiseman tournament or a Parker Bone tournament. It's a great place to start.
I do want to add one thing. I did get this question online. Our girls' events do not count as points for our regular events.
Yes, that is correct.
They do not. And the side pots do not count for...
As far as brackets,
for brackets,
and stuff, yes.
Right. Brackets get paid out in scholarship money at those events. Now, I will be doing best qualifying and masters qualifying. That obviously will count. But for brackets, they get paid out in cash. And there are no participation points for the regular season events to show up at the girls' tournaments. They just count towards the girls' invitational at the end of the year.
Yeah, and let me also throw in with that too, like the statistics from the competitions, your averages and so forth. Those are typically not integrated with the regular season PJBT events. So ultimately, when we post the stats on the website, I know handicap bowlers. A lot of you go online to look at the averages that Josh updates to see if your tournament average ends up being higher than your league average or so forth. Girls events will be separate, so only the regular season PJBT events will be updated on the website.
Yeah.
So, but all good stuff there as far as side pots and paying out in scholarship and so forth.
And just something else to add to the website. I know the website does not get updated every week. Hopefully some weekends, some years, hopefully we do it 4 times a year, just with lifestyles that we have going on. Just so everybody knows, typically my updates get done on a Saturday night once my child passes out and goes to sleep, and I have some sanity. So if anybody ever has any questions, you want to see where you're at in points, just ask me on a Sunday morning. 99% of the time, I have everything up to date for the week the following week. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes we do get behind on some stuff, but if the website's not updated, just ask, and I'd be more than happy to show you where you're at and what you have and stuff like that. So if anyone's ever curious, you don't always have to wait for the website to be updated. I normally have it on my computer at each tournament throughout the week, so just ask.
Yep, absolutely, and that's the expanded girls only schedule for this year. Let's talk a little bit. Let me transition us to the regular schedule. One of the things I want to mention as far as the regular PJBT schedule is that, piggybacking on what Jason said, for the girls, don't forget that at all the major events, thanks to Lane Tamers Pro Shop and some of our sponsors and the PJBT MAP Scholarship Program, we're able to pay out bonus scholarships at all of our major events for the girls also. So even though the girls don't have their own division, essentially they have their own side pot they can enter, and they also have those bonus scholarships at the majors. So that's really important for the girls to come out and compete. So a couple of things I want to talk about with the regular schedule, okay? One of the things you might have noticed, and it's probably a godsend in kind of a way, because after I released the schedule on social media and our Facebook page, it was brought to my attention that in the second half of the year we had to make a couple of changes because of the fact that, just like most of us, we probably aren't thinking 6, 8, 9 months ahead, and locally we have two of our Bolero centers actually hosting the men's state tournament this year. So after they confirmed their dates for the spring, they also told me, hey, we can't do that. So we had to make a couple of changes. So I just want to quick kind of summarize it and go over it. I know, did you just notice that, or?
About 30 seconds ago. I refreshed it. Okay.
I just signed my parents up for YouTube today.
Go ahead.
They're going to try it out.
Okay, we're back on? Okay. All right, so might have missed a little bit there, but as I was saying, we have, in the first half of the schedule, we have the Christmas tournament on Monday, December the 26th, with the two squads once again for our Christmas, day after Christmas event. We're going to have Saturday, December 31st is going to be our New Year's Eve Day Classic at Strike Zone Alleys in Pottsville. As Jason was talking about earlier, make sure you don't confuse the centers. Again, that's Strike Zone Alleys in Pottsville, PA. Unlike the girls' event later in the year at Strike Zone Lanes in Sunbury. Okay, so Strike Zone Alleys, Pottsville. We're going to do a special format for that event this year to hope to get done a little bit sooner, just so everybody can get to where they need to be for New Year's Eve. So we're going to have a special format on that day, and we'll be starting at 10 a.m. For that event. So make sure you don't miss that. Then as we continue through to the second half of the schedule, I'll talk a little bit about, we have our 3-person team tournament, again, the end of February. One of the changes that we added is we added a 21 and under doubles event. That'll be the Scotch doubles event at Bolero Berks Lanes on Sunday, March the 5th. We've moved, Berks is one of the centers hosting that state tournament I mentioned, so they're going to be hosting us a little bit earlier than normal in the second half of the year, so we can kind of clear them out. We're going to have our Super Adult Junior event again, Sunday, March the 19th, up at Summit Lanes in Pocono Summit, PA, up with the Stackowitzes. So that is back on the schedule this year. We're going to have our Baker Team Tournament, Sunday, April the 2nd, again at ABC West. That was a big hit over the past couple of years. And then on Easter weekend, we'll have our Easter Classic again on Saturday, April the 8th. And that will be our left lane, right lane tournament, where we will have 2 patterns, 1 pattern on the left lane of every pair, 1 pattern on the right lane of every pair for our unique Easter Classic. Okay, and with the changes to the schedule, Leisure Lanes will be hosting our 9th major of the season. So Leisure will have 2 regular season events this year, that major being Sunday, April the 16th. Okay, And then on Sunday, April the 30th, we're going to have a 21 and under doubles event. We're going to be making a second trip this year to Chaco's Family Bowling Center in Wilkes-Barre. And that was kind of the grouping of changes that we had to make there due to the changes in the schedule. One thing I did jump over and forgot to mention is back in January, on Sunday, January the 22nd, we are going to have our one ball event again, our singles one ball event, where you'll pick one bowling ball to use for the entire event. So that will also be back in the schedule this year. The Mother's Day Mulligan event will be Sunday, May the 14th at ABC North. And then the following week, we will finish off the regular season once again with our 2 a.m. Super Match Play Tournament at Steel City Bowl and Brews in Bethlehem. And then I just wanted to mention real quick for the postseason, once again, the schedule looks pretty familiar. We're going to be doing our Limerick Bowl. Bolero Limerick is going to host us again for our championship weekend, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then also the following weekend we'll have our Masters tournament in the Allentown, Bethlehem area. This year for the Masters tournament, it will be flip-flop. So Haja will host the first part of the event, and then we will finish at Steel City Bowl and Brews Saturday night and Sunday. And then I just wanted to briefly talk about, once again, we're going to be hosting the 19th annual Best 2.0 Scholarship Tournament at Leisure Lanes in Lancaster. I wanted to talk briefly about this because I wanted to let everybody know that I know this past year we made a lot of changes with Best, and we actually are happy to announce that we have one bowlers tour from Maryland, the Storm Mid-Atlantic Tour down there. They're going to be running Best qualifiers this year for the Best tournament. So, and we have a couple of other tours that are discussing with me running qualifiers to expand the tournament back again. Originally, when we started the idea years ago, we had a couple of tours involved, and over the years, some of those have dissolved. Some have kind of fallen off the map. So, you know, we're looking into getting a couple of the tours back to doing qualifiers and stuff so we can expand that event once again. But we felt last year was a good kickoff with the changes that we made, so we're going to try to do that. And I can tell you the group from Maryland will actually be running the Second Chance tournament on Sunday. They have turned it into a Father's Day doubles event, which will be like kind of like an adult junior, but they're going to be expanding it and actually running the Sunday event. So that's one less thing for you, Josh. How do you like that?
Always a good thing.
So, yeah, so they're going to be in town that weekend with us to run the Best tournament, and we're looking to expand it a little bit. So I'm going to be reaching out to some of the tours from New Jersey and New York, and we actually are in discussions also with the one out west in Western PA and Ohio and Michigan. So hopefully this year we're looking to expand Best again to a new level. So, which reminds me of one other thing I wanted to bring up. This year for side pots, a lot of you have seemed to love the idea we've been doing for years of the package. This year we're going to expand the package to include Best. So each week, when you get the package, it'll be $10 more, but you'll get the Best qualifier included in that package. And we probably should real quick mention, because I know people ask us all the time, what happens once you get to the maximum level for brackets and so forth. Again, at that point you can use after you win 6 brackets during the regular season, at that point you can roll over any bracket wins into scholarship money, or you can roll it over towards entries into Masters and Best, which we've done in the past. So we will continue to do that. So even once you have more than 6 bracket wins for the bracket tournament, you want to keep entering the package, because you'll get that additional stuff to enter into. So should be very exciting. So.
All right, we have a question.
Oh, we have a question.
We have a question.
Okay.
And, I want you to dovetail this into discussing how we go about determining how we use handicap for the handicap division.
Okay.
You know, we use this, and then we use this, and then we use this. So the question by Nicole Lindemuth: are the averages on the website up to date? Thanks for all you do. I believe the answer to that question is they are up to date as of our last regular season events last season.
Correct.
So they are. So why don't you talk about how we go about determining how a bowler, how they use their averages for the handicap division, and needing average verification, especially for first-time bowlers.
Well, yes, we can. That's a great question, actually, and I know Josh and I can answer that one. So, basically, the way the rules are set up with averages, what we typically do for the handicap bowlers is you're going to use your highest finishing league average for winter or summer with at least 21 games in a sanctioned league, most of which you can find on bowl.com, which, again, when you guys are entering on the website for a tournament, let me just say that 9 times out of 10, Stacy and Josh do a great job double checking the averages, making sure you're using the correct one. So don't be fearful if you put a wrong average in or something. You know, we will make sure that you're using the correct average. But what we do is we typically will look at your finishing average from the past season with at least 16 games bowled, and then we look at your ending average for leagues for this past winter or summer if you had 21 games. Whichever one is highest is what you would start with, okay? So that's how you would start off your season. Now, as we get the season going, the rule is that after you bowl 16 games of competition, and let me clarify, 16 games, there's kind of a caveat with that, because when we say 16 games, we're talking 16 games on a recreational pattern or 16 games on a challenge pattern, okay? So we keep those averages separate, and you'll see that right on the website. Typically what happens is once you bowl 16 games in competition, if your tournament average is higher than all those averages, last year's average in PJBT, all your league averages from the end of last year, then you will begin using your PJBT average, okay? Now, typically, in general, to make it easy for most people, usually most bowlers will have their highest average through the tournaments once they have enough games, generally speaking. But we document all that, and actually when you check in, Josh or I have a chart that we keep of your highest average from the end of last year, you know, the best to our knowledge online for highest league average for last year, and then your current average. So we try to track that. Obviously, it's a bowler's responsibility to make sure we're using the correct average, but we more than do our best to make sure that, you know, you're using the correct average. So let me, just to kind of clarify that, if I tried to say too much there, let me give you a quick example. So my stepdaughter is going to start bowling this year in the PJBTs. I honestly don't know exactly her average, but let me just use 100 as an example. If she averages 100, she'll enter the first event, being that she hasn't bowled PJBTs in the past. She'll enter with 100 for at least the first couple events until she has 16 games in tournament competition, whether on a rec pattern or a challenge pattern. And as soon as she averages more than 100 for 16 games, that's when her average will get updated to the current average. And as long as her PJBT average never drops below 100, she will always be using her PJBT average. So hopefully that kind of clarifies it a little bit for everybody. Anything to add there?
So go ahead, and then I'll ask.
Just to add to that, though, in her example, let's say her PJBT average becomes 106. She would use her PJBT average. Now, if her current season league average would get over whatever her PJBT average is, that's a different route now. Now you would use that average. So if she starts bowling and once she has 21 games, she's averaging 110, then the 110 becomes her average until her PJBT average would go above whatever her league average is.
Yeah, essentially we're always using the highest league average, and it can be from this past year or the current season. Now, most people with junior programs, you know, you're not going to have 21 games in your current season until probably sometime in October, maybe even November, depending on when you started. So, but Josh is absolutely right, and that's a great point I didn't bring up, is that at the beginning of the season, you're using the highest from the past seasons. But as we go forward and we get a little bit more into the season, yes, if your league average is higher than your PJBT, then you're going to be using your highest league average. It's always 21 games in league or 16 games in competition for our events. Okay, that's how we determine the averages. So, great point there, Josh.
Mr. Fats, your comment.
That's what I was going to say. The same thing.
Okay.
You stole my thunder.
Two great minds always think alike.
So that is a great question. Any other thing on the message board?
Nope. That is the only thing other than Darren Zombro saying that we froze about 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
When we froze for about 30 seconds there.
Okay.
So we'll give it. Nicole, actually, I just got another message. Follow up. What if your summer league is uncertified sport pattern league? So I'm going to take uncertified as unsanctioned. Then it wouldn't count.
Correct.
Because it's not sanctioned.
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
And to be honest, typically, if you're going to bowl on a sport pattern league, your average is going to be lower anyway. Which that's actually a great point. If that's the only average they have, we do re-rate for sport pattern.
Yes, I that's what was clicking in my mind when you just mentioned that. So a lot of people ask me how we determine averages, and I've always for years said that, you know, not every event is on the same type of pattern. So, and every league can be different from center to center. So what we've always done is, even if we're bowling a major event or a challenge event, as you see it on the schedule, we're always going to go with the highest league average, because that's the only way you can make the board equal across it. And the only time we've ever re-rated bowlers is if the only average that you have is on a sport or challenge type pattern. And that's come up very rare. Most people who bowl in a sport or challenge league also bowl in a, what I'll call a regular league, with more of a house type condition. So we don't really run into that very often. But yes, it is in our rules that if that is the only average that you had and it's sanctioned, then we would potentially re-rate the average to make it fair across the board.
So Nicole said yes, unsanctioned. So let's just talk about that for a second. What would happen if that is the only average that they had? So we have now an unsanctioned average, and that's it.
Well, typically in our rules, it does state that we can go back, that it is, first of all, it's discretion of the tournament directors, which are sitting here. But I can answer that to say that the rule does say that we will go back up to 3 years if you don't have an average sanctioned for, like, let's just say we have a bowler who has it, for whatever reason, had an injury, didn't bowl last year, but they bowled the prior season. Then we would go with the highest league average from the prior season until they generate enough games in our tournaments to bowl. If they don't have any generated average in the last couple of years, then unfortunately, yes, they would have to enter with a 200 average until at least they generate enough games to. But we don't run into that very often.
I don't think we've ever ran into a
I don't think
situation where no one
we've
had
ever
an
had that. I mean, again, there are goofy scenarios where you'll have a bowler who, you know, because of an injury, they were off for a season. And maybe their last sanctioned average is from 2 years ago. If that's the only average they have, then I will usually accept that. But yeah, if they don't have any sanctioned average at all over the last couple of years, then they enter with 200. So hopefully that answers your question. But it's never a perfect formula, I guess would be the saying. But we do our best to equalize it across the board for our handicap bowlers.
Yeah.
So
Nicole said thank you. Carter Strauss has a question.
Okay.
We all know Carter. We like Carter. And this could dovetail into, it's going to be an equipment question.
okay.
He asks, are 2016 and 2017 purple hammers still allowed?
Except for you, Carter.
I knew there was going to be a good answer on that one. Let me just explain real quick. We are an unsanctioned event. I mean, with all due respect, I always make the joke, as long as the bowling ball is round, you can use it. I haven't seen anybody throw a square bowling ball yet, so that's probably the only time we would tell you no. No, we don't have any restrictions on equipment at this point. I think that whole thing has really created kind of a mess for our sport, so I think the personal preference is if it's round and it's a bowling ball, you can use it. So no, we don't have any restricted equipment at this time. If that changes, obviously we would announce it at the tournaments or online, but nope, I would say you can use it.
Okay. And I have something that we should probably bring up for new people. Maps.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about maps, since we don't send our scholarship money into the USBC?
Okay, sure. Well, MAPS is our management scholarship program that we started in 2015 for PJBT events, okay? And generally speaking, thanks to MAPS, we have been able to fund a lot of extra prize money events, things like, this Best 2.0 this past year. We had a lot of different features to events we're able to do because of MAPS. MAPS is very similar to SMART, it's just we handle it ourselves. And for many bowlers, you can log on through our website to your MAPS account. It's very simple to check your account at all times to see what's on there. Everything should be updated on there, 99.8%. Jason, I didn't update that extra stuff you gave me from the girls only event. We're still trying to figure out who finished second at East Lincoln Lanes in December. So if you finish second at East Lincoln Lanes, message me.
There was a paperwork issue and somehow second place went missing, but we have everything else.
But other than that, we have everything pretty much up to date. So, and you can easily submit your tuition bills and so forth. Like I mentioned earlier today, we've sent out over $40,000 in just the last 2 weeks for the fall semesters of a lot of past and present PJBT bowlers. So, yeah, it's just a management way that we do it. It makes it a lot easier for us, and I appreciate your patience when we got to get a lot of checks out. The checkbook almost ran out of checks the last time, a couple weeks ago, when I sent out a bunch of checks. But yeah, just bear with us, and we always get it out for the schools, and works out really good. So yeah, all of our events go into that, and you can track it at all times. So it just makes it very much. The one thing I will say is a lot of people message me that they don't know what their ID is, or they don't know what their password is. It's very, very, very. Did I stress very?
No, I don't.
Important when you guys fill out your bio sheets at the beginning of the season. Make sure the email address on them is your primary email, or make sure it's legible so that we don't spell it wrong. Because every time you win money, you'll get an auto email with your ID and your information to be able to log in, and it's kind of a receipt per se to showing you what's been entered into your account. So it's important that and if you're not sure what email's on your account, again, you can log into your MAPS account. You can update your profile at any time if there's an address change or I know for a lot of you, I tried to put in an estimated date of graduation for high school. that could be off by 1 year, depending on your age and what grade you're in, if you didn't fill out your bio completely. So, I mean, it always helps to go in and update that information so that you get it. So,
I have one more comment to add to that.
yes.
And it's the dumbest thing, and there's no reason we should be covering this. You can change anything in your profile. Please do not change your name. If you change your name, and I don't know what you change it to, or Matt, you're not getting your scholarship money. Because we look up to when Matt does the updates, it all gets added in by your name. If you change your name, you're not getting your money.
Yeah, and another thing I want to mention too is that we're far enough along in maps now. I actually had one case of it this morning that I took care of. One of the biggest bowler complaints of the smart system was when you were a bowler with the name TJ or DJ, or you had a junior with your name, or you spelled your last name, or you went by, Josh instead of Joshua. There was all these formations of your name in the system. We want to try to avoid that in our system. This morning I had a bowler who, I'm not sure if it was our fault or their fault filling out the form, but I actually determined he had $80 in an account that should have been in his primary account. He actually had 2 accounts. So I fixed that this morning. So yeah, make sure that, like, if you go into your profile to update any information, obviously don't change the name. Just make sure if you update anything that it's your graduation date. That's really important. Email is super important. And again, the auto emails that you get tell you the temporary password to get started. So, again, and we have buttons on the website to click. If you forget your password, you don't find the email, you can click there to do it. So, I mean, it is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, we're here to help, but sometimes it takes us a little bit to get back to you. So, it's best to try to, if you forget your ID or your password, to try to do it through the website. You can do it. So, but great info. One more thing I forgot to mention, and I want to make sure I mention it, for any of our older PJBT past bowlers, and for our the rest of our crew that is not here today, Ben and Nick Rhines, once again, they're going to be running the Keystone Bowlers Tour this year. So any of our PJBT past bowlers, just adult bowlers in general, they're going to be holding a couple of Keystone Bowlers Tour events this year. First one being October 9th at Leisure Lanes, and they're going to have pretty much monthly tournaments with a finale extra payout event on Sunday, May the 7th. So you will not pay for those events on our website. You'll go through them to do that. But also, they have a couple of events going on during the season this year, so you can get involved. And, if you're too old to bowl PJBTs anymore, there's still something out there for you to compete in. So.
And if you do make a payment on our website for the Keystone Bowlers Tour, it will be refunded.
Yes.
We have enough going on. We're not gonna. You have any questions about entries? You need to send an entry. Check with Nick and Ben; they'll take care of you. But we're not going to handle any Keystone entries. That's a separate entity. We're still involved, of course. It's on the schedule and everything, and our name's still on it. But as far as payments and stuff, that's treated as a separate entity.
Correct. So any events for the girls only or the regular events, they all go through our website, and then the adult events will go through Ben and Nick, and they have the events and the link on their event page on Facebook to be able to make payments. So, yep. So.
All right. So why don't you give them the website address and give them our social media page, and we'll
absolutely.
call it a day.
So make sure you check us out on the website, pjbtbowlingseries.com. There's going to be a lot of additional updates going up. Jason and I will be getting the events up this week. A lot of you have been asking me, other than the first event, when can I start paying for other events? We'll be getting those events up on the website, probably at least the first half of the season. We'll get up probably within the next couple days. And, so check it out there. And then don't forget our Facebook page, which is the PJBT Youth Information page. It is set up as a private page, so if you're not a member already, please message us or ask us to become a member, and we will okay you as long as you exist somewhere in the United States. And yes,
There's a lot of people we deny because they don't exist. You would be surprised how many requests we get from, I guess we'll call them spam bots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's yeah. I mean, if you live out in like Germany or something, probably a good chance you're not getting approved.
Yeah. I mean, just message us. We'll be happy to.
Unless you're flying in the
So.
16-hour flight just to bowl this weekend and going home. I'm not.
So yes, but just message us, and obviously, we will okay bowlers to join our page, and then and I've been doing my best as we post anything big like our schedule to kind of branch it out to other group pages within other tours and so forth. So make sure you check that out, and
that's also the place to go if we have any weather issues. Since unfortunately we've been kicking around setting up an email blast for things like this. We don't have that available yet at the moment. So the website and the Facebook page is where you'll find any updates if we have any last minute stuff going on. If I hit a deer coming to a tournament and I'm not going to be on time, I might put it on the Facebook page. But yeah, just if you do have Facebook and you have access to the PJBT page, that's where the centralized up-to-date info will go if something does pop up last minute.
So yeah, and I can wrap that up with, I know our goal for the first event is 120 entries. At least that's what I set for, and I'm hoping that we can get the first 100. So the first 100 will get into the drawing for a $100 gift card for the season. We've already locked in the first 24 getting a free prize, but we have space yet. We're just about halfway home to our goal. So let's go online tonight, pay your entry, and certainly we advise getting the membership to save on your entry fee for all of the singles events at the regular tour and the women's tour events. And
This conversation comes up every single year. If you're going to bowl at least 8 singles events this year, buy the membership.
correct.
Because if you buy the membership, you get $5 off every tournament. The membership costs you $35. So that is, $7. So
Seven.
you're going to pay $40 instead of $45. So the membership does not apply to any of the specialty events. Those are
Right.
set prices, but there's more than enough singles tournaments that there's at least 20 or so singles tournaments. It's a no-brainer. We have parents that kick it around until the last minute, and then even though things are going up, we don't want to, we want to, $5 is $5.
Sure, absolutely.
So-
And even if you're just going to bowl the 10 majors, singles events.
Yeah, even if
I
you're bowling
mean,
just majors, you're still going to save $15 if you buy the membership.
Yep. So, it does come in really handy, and, especially when it's a regular singles event. So, and we'll have a station set up next Sunday to get your membership cards. That's usually kind of Stacy's station. So, like I said, I would recommend if you can print out the bio sheet. I'll get that updated on the website within the next couple hours. If you want to print that out, fill it out, bring it with you. I would tell you we'll have a station set up for you to purchase your membership or pick up your membership card with her first before checking in at the tournament on Sunday. And then,
Don't come to the check-in table without your bio sheet. You're going to get
Yes.
you will get turned away.
That's correct. Yes, everybody will need a bio sheet filled out, at least for the first event.
Yes.
So we have the updated.
Once
info.
you fill out the first one, you don't need it anymore the rest of the year unless your info changes.
In fact, why don't we post that on the Facebook page, the link to the bio sheet too?
I can do that.
Okay.
Sure. Absolutely. We'll do that later today. So.
We don't have it available to you to submit it online yet, so if it is up there, just print it out and bring it with you.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions?
No. Message board went quiet. The last thing was Carter Strauss saying, "Oh man," when you said that he can't use it. Only him.
Well, us guys from Orbisburg, we're just deadbeats.
Yeah.
We're raining on we're raining on everything but the yard. That's why it's dead.
All right, so wrap it up. Let's say goodbye. and
Absolutely.
until next week.
Well, we thank everybody for joining us today here in the backyard of the PJBT headquarters. And just give us. We look forward to seeing everybody again back at the Bowling Center next Sunday, and make sure you sign up in advance. It'll really help us out with check-in next week, and yeah, we're very excited for season 24.
Every tournament you could sign up in advance helps.
It does. It absolutely does, and we look forward to seeing everybody back at the centers. And and for any of the proprietors out there, many of you which I have not seen yet, I will be in touch very, very soon to get all our details worked out for the upcoming season. So, but yes, we look forward to seeing everybody. Make sure you check out our website, Facebook page, and we'll see you out on the lanes next Sunday.
All right.
And just one other thing to add on too, we usually get questions about just in general about college bowling. If there's any college coaches out there looking to recruit or anything, we are most definitely one of the places to be.
Absolutely.
So we have a lot of our national champions, college bowlers. We have some PWBA bowlers that have bowled, that have won some tournaments recently, that have bowled in PJBT events. So we have a very good stock crop of talent that are going to be college
I
eligible
want to hear
soon.
you say that 5 times fast.
Well, I wasn't ready for it at the time. But, yeah, I mean, if anybody ever has any questions, I know I've been messaged by some college coaches regarding some things already. You know, we'd be happy to help you guys out and get our bowlers showcased out there.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, without our events, I mean, this is the future of our sport, and it will continue to be. As we are now 24 seasons in, will be our continued, this is what keeps the sport growing, is our youth. So the best talent in the Northeast, I always say, is on the lanes every weekend. So make sure you come out and join us, tell your friends about it, and we're looking forward to it.
Yep.
So
Anything else?
That's all I got.
I think we're good. I think go on the website, sign up tonight, and we will see everybody next Sunday at 222 Dutch Lanes. We will start check-in probably around 9 o'clock, and bowling will be at 10:30.
All right. Wave goodbye.
All right. From the backyard of the PJBT headquarters, we will see everybody next Sunday. Have a great rest of your day, weekend, and week. Till we see you next Sunday.